How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Mullen Automotive, which ended up posting a green day, being up 1.55% while the market was falling off a cliff. So I know many of you are excited about that. And plus, they had a catalyst that came out. We'll talk about it further in this video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support, we want to know resistance, we want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important, because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis from Mullen. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $1.31, being up 1.55%. On the low, it tested $1.23, and then on the high, testing $1.49. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 90.649 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 49.077 million shares. So we had above average volume on the day, and it's part of the reasons why we've seen some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 35.85. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. So it's clear to see that Mullen is in a bear market, trading below all of our major moving averages. So let's talk about the high that we saw on the day, just under $1.50, being at $1.49. So going into tomorrow, what do you want to see from Mullen? You want to see it revisit this level at 149, because if it could break through this level, that's where we want to see if it could reclaim the 21-day EMA, which is at $1.65. And if it could hold support at this level, then we want to see how well it does, especially getting to the 50-day moving average, which is at $1.88. Now, as far as for the low that we tested on the day at $1.23, this is a good sign. We are still continuing to trade in a very tight range, holding up support right at 120. So if we continue to see this consolidation, it's only a matter of time until we see a further breakout to the upside. So that's why I want to make sure you're keeping a very close eye. But do know, if we break through $1.20, we know the next areas of support that we want to see hold up is around 115 and as well as 103, essentially wanting it to hold up the $1 level. So it's good to see that Mullen was able to pull off a green day when the market was selling off. So let's see how the stock performs on Friday. Let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information from Mullen. So scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So we're going to take a look at the recent filings for May the 5th. We don't have any new or closed positions, but we do have some changes here. So we have SJS Investment Consulting Inc. We could see a position of 20 shares, and also for Carson Alaria Wealth Management Limited, you can see that they have changed their position by 40%. So that is a significant reduction right there. So now let's move on to the short interest. The off-exchange short volume ratio is at 30.85%. And then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 8.04 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 2.9 million, updated 12 minutes ago. And then for the short ball fee rate, it is at 3.85%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the third, it was at 27.91. And then for the close of the fourth, being at 30.85. So what we could see, and knowing that the short interest percentage of the float is at 14.95%, Mullen does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution from Mullen. So we see on the inflows at 26.02 million, and then on the outflows at 26.59 million. So we ended up having an outflow day, but but it was still fairly close. Taking a look at the large, it was 1.59. On the medium, it was 16.57. And on the small, it was 7.86. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 1.67. On the medium, it was 17.27. And then on the small, it was 7.65. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you could see for today, May the 5th, we had an outflow of 0.08 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. But again, it was still fairly close. And then taking a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 32.25%. So no surprises why it's this high. We know that Mullen is a volatile stock. And it also did come out with a catalyst that brought a lot of buying pressure into the play. And that's why we saw a high of $1.49 on the day. So let's go into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Mullen, before we get started talking about the price action and so on, let's go over the catalyst came out. We're going to read a piece of an article here. So here it comes. Why is Mullen stock soaring today? So we'll jump into the meat and potatoes. Today, Mullen Automotive announced that the company's adding new stops to its US test drive tour. Additionally, the company's high-performance 5RS model will be featured in the strikingly different tour. For those bullish on the high-performance EV sector, there's a lot to like about this news. Most of all, though, Mullen is bringing consumers another option to consider for standing out from the crowd. By all accounts, the new Mullen 5RS is a very intriguing option too. The EV features 1,100 horsepower and a 0 to 60 time of just 1.95 seconds. Seeing it in action on tour will likely drive further interest in Mullen stock. I have to say I'm intrigued. For now, this is still a speculative catalyst. However, there's clearly a reason investors are jumping on Mullen stock. So this is definitely some great news for Mullen, and reading that piece of the article makes a lot of sense. We had the market selling off big time, but Mullen was able to hold up. And most importantly, it was able to hold up support levels. So now let's move on to the price action. So since we saw a high of $1.49, of course we want to see some price action above this level. But going into tomorrow, we need to make sure that we're continuing to hold up $1.20. We have been trading in a very tight range. So the moment that we break through $1.20, that's why I was saying there's a strong possibility this stock could visit around $1.15. And if that level breaks, we can go down to testing around $1.03. Now, if we end up having a bullish move, I would love to see Mullen getting to the 21-day EMA. Currently, that is sitting at $1.65. And as far as for the 50-day moving average, we know that's literally sitting around $1.87 or $1.85. Again, it does change from day to day due to the changes in price of the stock. So keeping an eye on these levels will be very important because it will give us a good indication. If we could pass those levels to the upside, then that's where we could see this stock moving very well and more bulls wanting to step into the play. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, yes, we have seen institutions reducing their positions. No surprises there, but we also have seen institutions have loaded up as well. And then taking a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. But in order for this to occur, we need more buying pressure coming into the play. We did see some buying pressure today, and you see how it had a strong spike. It hasn't seen that high for quite some time. So just knowing this, and if we get some more catalysts coming from the company, that's where I want to see the stock moving further. But for the most part, let it continue to consolidate, and once we get that breakout, we'll be looking for that move going above the 21-day EMA. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into Friday. We'll talk soon.